Rookie drafts are coming up. Time to rank those rookie quarterbacks. Let's get it started. Quarterback 1 is pretty obvious. The highest touted quarterback since Trevor Lawrence. People are already calling this man Patrick Mahomes. The Chicago Bears selected Caleb Williams. No relation. The #1 overall pick in the NFL draft. He was the Heisman winner in 2022, throwing for over 4,500 yards and 50 plus combined touchdowns. He's not as big of a runner as #2 on my list, but he does get it done on the ground too. Over 380 yards on the ground, plus 10 rushing touchdowns. That's pretty good for fantasy football. And did I mention he's coming into one of the best teams a #1 overall pick has ever come into? I'm talking DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, who they traded for, and the 9th overall pick, Rome Odunze, the 3rd best receiver in this class. What does that say? Matt Miller's pro comp, Jamar Chase? Caleb Williams may not be running it for 1,000 yards like Jayden Daniels, but the Bears have given him everything he could ask for. Oh yeah, and they also picked up DeAndre Swift out of the backfield. Are you kidding me? This kid has help everywhere. Wide receiver, running back, tight end. And he's probably going to be the best quarterback in Chicago Bears history, meaning his longevity is pretty much baked in. Moving on, the second player in Tier 1, Jayden Daniels. Drafted #2 overall, another Heisman Trophy winner. He won it in 2023. This man can get it done in the air and on the ground, throwing for 3,800 yards and 50 combined touchdowns. 40 in the air, 10 on the ground. But him and Caleb Williams are not in the same class at running the ball. Jayden Daniels rushed for over 1,100 yards last year. Now, don't get it twisted. He might outclass Caleb Williams, but he ain't got nothing on Lamar Jackson. Trust me. The 1,100 yards Jayden Daniels ran for in college was cute. Do y'all know what Lamar Jackson did in college? Over 1,500 yards rushing and over 1,600 yards rushing. That's impressive. He clears him by over 400 yards. So Jayden Daniels is going to dominate on the ground. He just ain't Lamar Jackson. I have him coming in with the 3rd best receiving core. Terry McLaurin, Jahan Dotson, and Austin Eckler out of the backfield is definitely going to help. The rookie, they also drafted a tight end. So I think Jayden Daniels is set up to succeed. I am slightly concerned about his small frame. He's 6'4", 210. That's not that big for a guy that's going to be running the ball. So learn how to slide, Rook. Moving down to Tier 2, J.J. McCarthy. This may surprise some of you. A lot of people had Drake Maye at 3, and I get it. He was drafted higher, got a strong arm, but his weapons are lacking. It's giving pedestrian. Yes, I know they drafted 2 wide receivers, and I'll get into that in my wide receiver episode. Shameless plug. But J.J. McCarthy is just coming into a stacked situation. I mean, comparing Drake Maye's 2 rookies to Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, and TJ Hawkinson, it's not even comparable. Second best position to come into, J.J. McCarthy, you're set up to do work. You may or may not start the season. Sam Darnold's not going to keep you off of the job for very long. But I didn't just put him at 3 because of where he landed, though it helped a lot. He's a winner. He's won 3 consecutive Big Ten championships and the national championship in 2023. Now, here's the thing. He didn't have to do a lot. It was a run-first offense that played good defense. He showed that he could run a little bit, ran for like 300 yards, and he dropped a few dimes when they asked him to throw it. Now, I think that he's going to have to throw it more in Minnesota. I don't think there's any way around that. Justin Jefferson is going to demand the ball. You're not just going to throw it to him 7 times a game. That's not the offense you've got to be running. But the coach has proven that he can make mediocre quarterbacks look good. And I think J.J. McCarthy is better than mediocre. Next up, to round out Tier 2, we got Drake Maye, quarterback for the New England Patriots. I'd say he has big shoes to fill, but that'd be if we're talking about Tom Brady, not Mac Jones. Up until draft day, there was rumors of Drake Maye going second, first. Not as much first, but definitely second. He threw it well in college, over 4,300 yards, 45 touchdowns. He does run it more than Caleb and J.J. McCarthy. Caleb and J.J. sit around 300 to 400 yards rushing, whereas Drake Maye will get about 700. Still not in the same class as Jayden Daniels, but that's saying something. I just think he's going to have a slow start. Talent could prevail, but these receivers are going to need to step up for him to be relevant. He's currently in a rebuild, and if you're drafting him, your team might actually be in a rebuild. Moving on, Tier 3, we got Bo Nix, the last first-round draft pick. Bo Nix is heading to the Denver Broncos to be Sean Payton's Drew Brees 2.0. Accurate, except he can run a little bit. That's kind of cool. He threw for 4,500 yards and 45 touchdowns. Pretty good. Less than 300 yards rushing, but he did show that he has the ability. How much he's going to be doing it, we'll see. As the 12th overall pick, I think it's safe to say Sean Payton found his guy, or at least he better be. Drafting the 6th quarterback off the board at 12 is wild. I hope you know what you're doing, Sean, because ain't no blaming the staff on this one. This is your draft pick on your team. I hope the kid can produce. Kind of tired of Sean Payton getting embarrassed. Moving on. Bo Nix is the last one I have in tier 3 because the rest aren't starters. I'm going to keep it brief, except for this first one because it's a little outrageous. Michael Penix! Oh my gosh. Atlanta Falcons. What are you doing? Y'all just paid Kirk Cousins all that money. And your first draft pick is a quarterback? And not just a quarterback, an old quarterback. By the time Kirk Cousins is not your starter, my man's going to be like 27, 28 years old. And he's had some injuries. I like Michael Penix, but of the quarterbacks that we have, he was one of the most pro-ready. He threw for 4,900 yards and led his team to the national championship. And you're going to have him sit for at least 2 years. Y'all are not getting out of Kirk Cousins' contract. Wild. Mind blown. Tisk. I think that's all I'm really going to go over for him. He's not going to be a starter. Unless Kirk Cousins comes back from his injury late. Best case scenario, Michael Penix is a starter 2 to 3 years from now. Unless there's an injury. But we don't really root for injuries here. Next up, we got Spencer Rattler. He's an interesting flyer, drafted in the 5th round to the New Orleans Saints. I don't think that Derek Carr is going to be their long-term solution. So if you need a backup quarterback, I think the Rattler could be a nice stash. So let's go over these rankings. Rookie quarterback rankings. Tier 1, Caleb Williams and Jayden Daniels. Tier 2, JJ McCarthy and Drake Maye. Tier 3, Bo Nix, and that's it. Tier 4, backups. Michael Penix, Spencer Rattler. Now that we've knocked out the quarterbacks, who are they going to be throwing the ball to? Click here for a breakdown of rookie wide receivers, and there's plenty more where that came from. See you soon. Peace.